What up? What up? Hey, welcome back, everybody. A late night live. This is episode 15. And hey, we got a really full group tonight. As always, Asa Jack's Media Grounds. Chris, what's going on, brother?
Hello, another week.
Awesome. Eric, you're here. How's it going, man?
Hello, friends.
He's got the X-Men t-shirt on.
Doing it. Thanks to my brother.
I guess we'll have to talk about that. X-Men show, maybe a little bit. Dathan, 8-bit gaming legend.
Hello, class.
Dude, and I think you saw what I got, Dathan.
Oh, I did. That was pretty fancy. That's a good buy.
Yeah, it was on clearance. That was the only reason I got it.
Nice.
So that's
I think 60, I think it was 62 was a little bit too high. I think you got it for half that, 34 or something.
Exactly, Walmart. So got to pay attention, guys, to those deals out there.
We're gonna have to talk about Transformers 1 at some point.
And the Transformers movie news, Dathan can fill us in on.
Yeah.
I think there's maybe two movies.
CinemaCon was last week or this past couple days.
Yeah, I read about that
stuff.
And Eric, you brought a guest on. This is Travis. Travis, you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, my name's Travis. I play games, and I know Eric.
Okay. That's good enough for us.
That's all the qualifications you need.
Checks a couple boxes, I think.
Is that all you need to get on this? Wow.
That's how you got on.
Eric doesn't make friends with everybody, so right?
Oh yeah, long time too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, welcome on the show. We're going to talk about video games and some other stuff. So we could start with you, Travis. Travis, did you play any games last week? What are you? What are you into right now?
Right now I'm just going through Assassin's Creed Valhalla, since that's kind of one of those I purchased it. Now it's time to actually play it. Yeah. But yeah, it's been okay. It's one of those just one more quest sort of games, and I didn't buy completely into all of the positive reviews and stuff. I'm not willing to go that far with it thus far, but it's a lot of fun just hopping around doing Viking stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I purchased that game, and I have also yet to go into it. But
yeah, it was in my backlog for probably half a year at least. So yeah, cool.
But so far, you're liking it?
Yeah, I mean, it's very much like the modern Assassin's Creed, where their take on an RPG, like action RPG sort of thing. My criticism with all of those games are that they start out at a clip, and then the difficulty wanes really quickly. And it pretty much is that way all the way through. So you're kind of playing an interactive story, it seems, until you get to just one battle. And then that'll maybe give you a challenge for one or two tries, and then you're done for a couple more hours or whatnot. But yeah, the voice acting's good. The cinematics and the story and all of that stuff are interesting. Although I didn't play any of the original Assassin's Creed. I kind of only jumped in with the RPG smash that they started doing. So I could actually do without all the modern day stuff. Like all of the lore that's associated with it, to me, that's all lost on me. Sure. And it takes me completely out of the current game. So I kind of feel like they could just throw that stuff aside and they'd have a decent game after that too.
Yeah, no, I think they need to it's a delicate balance. They need to have stuff for the older fans, but at the same time, they need to cater to a new audience. I know you're the first time playing that game, but there's going to be younger gamers that are going to be playing it and that maybe never played it. And there's a even newer Assassin's Creed game that came out. What was that? December or Chris?
Mirage, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I imagine they're making more. So,
yeah.
Ubisoft. It's one of the topics I want to talk about later tonight. We're going to talk about their new Star Wars game, and there's a host of controversy with that game, and it's going to make for a good topic for later. Dathan, how you doing, man? Did you get to play anything last week?
I'm about 5 hours into Prince of Persia.
Nice.
on PS5, and that's about it. It's good.
Where are you in the game? Like, just
I think I finished two bosses. I think. I'm taking my time with it. I'm not trying to not trying to 100% it or anything like that. But it's good. It's fun. The controls are really smooth.
I was gonna ask.
I do like the gameplay. The RPG aspect of it is good. But yeah, I'm having fun with it.
Dude, yeah, that game's
and
awesome.
That's pretty much it. Nothing else.
Nothing else. And just a lot of Transformers news.
A lot of Transformers news, a lot of CinemaCon news, some good stuff.
Yeah. CinemaCon, is like a new thing? Like, I've never even heard of CinemaCon before last week.
They do it every year. It's pretty much for like exhibitors and people in the industry. They don't show anything to the general public. It's basically, I think they showed, what I read was, I think 7 minutes of Deadpool and some extended trailer like that, and made some announcements. But the trailers, they'll start coming out, I think, next week. Next Thursday is when you'll start to see stuff when they attach it to the newer movies that are coming out.
Cool. Yeah, no, I got a little excited because they announced a new Star Trek movie, and it's like going to be a prequel of the 2009 movie. So it'll be really interesting to see what they do with that. And sounds like they announced a new Transformers movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even including the Transformers movie that's coming out this fall.
No, it's something different. So at the end of Rise of the Beast, if you guys saw it, you saw that there was the G.I. Joe crossover. Easter egg, where he hands him the business card, and so that's where they're going with the story. They're trying to cross over. The reason why it didn't come out sooner was they couldn't get the rights to G.I. Joe for it to be made. So now that they have the rights, now they're going to do the crossover. So my guess is probably going to be summer 2026 is when you're gonna start seeing stuff about it. Maybe even later.
That's cool. Chris, I don't know if you've seen it, but like I think I haven't seen any since the like Transformers 2 or maybe a little bit of Transformers 3. Like I checked out one of those movies. I fell asleep in the movie theater.
I actually Bumblebee was really good.
Oh, okay.
Bumblebee's watched that one.
Okay.
And then I was kind of hoping they were going to continue with that. Rise of the Beast was an interesting movie. But yeah, I do remember that whole in-credit scene where it's like, G.I. Joes, welcome to the Hasbro universe. It's like, where are you guys going to go with this? So yeah, I do remember seeing that. And then of course CinemaCon is for theaters. It's been around since the 1960s. It's just to showcase movies for theater owners, to get them to be like, yeah, we want to show this movie on all of our screens. This is going to bring in everybody.
I hadn't heard about it till this year.
No, it used to be just called Cinecon, and I think it was like at some point back during COVID they renamed it to CinemaCon. But
well, Chris, you need to get tickets next year.
You can't unless you're a theater owner, right?
I thought you were, since you were a movie reviewer connoisseur, you could figure it out. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I just need to buy me a theater and
yeah,
show whatever the hell I want on screen all the time.
Anyway, Chris, did you play any games last week?
I'm playing Prince of Persia: Lost Crown too.
Oh, you're playing too. So
yeah,
where
I'm playing it on the Switch, and I just beat the Forest Queen today.
Oh yeah, that's a really good boss. And I think I told. Right. Well, whatever it is in that game, and Dathan, you'll see this too. Like when you're fighting those early bosses, they're hard as hell. But like when you get later in the game, it's not as hard. And like I'm not even moving the difficulty around or anything. Just see what I mean. Like it feels like, and maybe that feels good. Like you got that. It's that RPG element, and you're like boosting up your character. But it's like, what? This is kind of a reverse of what it maybe should be. But the end bosses, it could be a little tricky, but I didn't have any trouble with it. But those first couple are good. So yeah, just keep at it. We'll check back in with you next week. Eric, did you get to play any more Endless Dungeon or
Darkest Dungeon?
Darkest Dungeon, excuse
Yeah,
me.
I sound like a broken record. I'm still raising up my guys to be 6th level so I can try to finish that game. But yeah, just got through 2 or 3 missions, but still have not yet gone back to the Darkest Dungeon after my party wipe. So
that's all right.
125 hours. We'll see.
If you're in the chat, please just give in Eric some encouragement. And
yeah, I need some hints and tips for Darkest Dungeon level 3. It's rough.
If you are in the chat, be sure to give us a comment, like, and consider subscribing. Also, I'll shout you out for sure. So I guess, Chris, should we just start off with the Star Wars Ubisoft stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on, what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday, they put out a new trailer for Star Wars Rebels. And it is this Ubisoft game. I'm going to see if I can share this. So they're going to do... You guys see that? Maybe a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Outlaws.
So this is their new game. The release date is now August 30th, 2024. You can pre-order it today. And so one of the first controversy is that there's multiple editions of this game. And I guess this isn't really a new thing, but it's not from what I understand, this is not a multiplayer game. And you got your standard edition, $70 base game, then pre-order bonus. I'm not sure what the pre-order bonus is. I think there's a 3-day early access in the gold edition. So if you jump up $40, and then there's an ultimate edition for $130, and you get some bundles, a digital art book. It seems pretty insane. And we've also talked about in the past, these Ubisoft games, they just drop in price crazy fast after the release. So and the other thing that kind of goes with this is the full game is not included on the physical copy. So people are upset about that. The trailer looks good. Did you guys get to see the trailer at all?
Mm-mm.
I did not know.
I didn't watch it.
Maybe check it out. I'm not going to play it here, but there's a lot of Star Wars games out there. Maybe maybe they're going to bring something new to this. I'm not sure, but for $70, going up to $130, it just feels like a game you might want to wait for Black Friday in November.
Well, my concern with it is this: Ubisoft is constantly nickel and diming people. Like that is a constant thing. I just ran into it last night with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where you're exploring an area and you come up to something that you're supposed to interact with, and it just pitches you out to the store, and it's like, okay, buy the DLC for this. Whereas I could have swore that when I bought Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I actually bought the at the time deluxe everything included thing, meaning that from the time that I bought it, they've now added even more freemium sort of stuff to it.
Yeah.
And the game isn't even freemium, right? You pay a premium price for the game, and then it seems like just as you're playing, it's just constantly shifting the target of like, oh, by the way, go buy this, go buy this, go buy this. And I feel like that's why, one, they dropped the price right away, right? It's get in while you can. So we've got a market secure. Now let's just keep tacking stuff on as they explore. I don't know, with the last couple of missteps that the Star Wars universe has had with the computer gaming area, I feel like Ubisoft might be kind of the wrong way to have gone with that franchise for a game development company.
Well, and they've got Star Wars on multiple game companies now, so they're going to be competing with EA, and I believe some other ones. So
well, and EA really screwed it up a couple times in a row before they tried to redeem themselves with the fighter game that I forget the name's escaping me for the space combat one that I actually have. Squadrons, yeah, they tried to redeem themselves with Squadrons, and unfortunately, it just didn't catch fire because it was a good game. It was fun. It was very fun, but yeah.
That game you can buy for like $1.
$1 now, yeah.
No way.
That's how bad it tanked, and it's a good game. It's a lot of fun.
Sure.
It's especially fun in VR, and they did a really good job implementing that. But it's a buck, so it just didn't catch on. Yeah.
Chris, do you have any thoughts on the $130?
Give it a week, it will be $40, maybe 30.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know, maybe in a week, but
the game not being on the disc though, that's nothing new. People who think that full games are on discs anymore are crazy because they send them out before they've put out patches for games. You know, it used to be back in the day when you bought a game, they had to make sure they had all the day one patches on there. The game was working and able to go out before it shipped. And it's probably been since, I would say, the 360 era that we've had full games on disc. It was once Xbox Live started becoming prevalent and they could do day one patches on games, a lot of these studios stopped releasing full games on the disc. You would get games missing files because they were added in the download, the patch. And so I don't think this is really all that surprising to not have a full game on there. I think there's just still too many people out there who are thinking of the golden age of gaming and buying
like
something and having nostalgia trips. We love them.
And if you guys have the other weird controversy that I saw explode online, and see if I can share this. Can you guys see that? So this is the voice actress that is playing the main title character, and people are losing their minds that they modeled, well, her voice is in the game, and I guess they did some mocap with her, but they made her look ugly in the game. And people are just outraged on this. And if you guys are upset about this, please say something. But I just, for one, I don't care. Like, first of all, I think there sounds like they're working on like an aesthetic of The Empire Strikes Back right after that, between Return of the Jedi, and that's a really bad picture on the right. But the hairdo, it's kind of like that Luke Skywalker, like just kind of messed up hairdo, and
late 70s, early 80s kind of thing going on. Yeah,
I guess they added a little. I don't know if you can see my mouse cursor, but they added that little knot in her chin there. But like, for me, it's like, it's Star Wars. First of all, it's not real. Is the actress herself upset about it? I don't think so. I think she got paid pretty good.
She got paid to do the thing. It's fine.
So, I hope she got paid.
She was a voice actor, not a face actor.
Right. That's where I'm really confused at the disconnect on that. Is when were our cartoon characters or animated characters supposed to look like the voice actors and actresses that did them?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I guess they're saying that there's a double standard for the male voice actors or male actors, because that Star Wars EA game that's got Cal Kestis, Chris, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Jedi Survivor.
Yeah. That guy looks exactly like his counterpart in the game. So, but it's a different game.
And it's a good game, but it takes me out of the game because I'm sitting there playing the game and I'm like, why am I playing this actor in a Star Wars game?
Yeah. They look too much like somebody recognizable.
As much as this for some people, maybe, hey, she did the mocapping, so why don't they put her model in the game as well? I'm kind of like, that kind of brings you out when you have like an actual person you can see, and you're like, I want to experience new characters, new people. You can have voice actors and you can do all that, but at least try and give me someone new to look at, so that I'm not looking at an actor being like, oh, hey, there's Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's Han Solo or Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different though if they were to make a Star Wars game with a Han Solo or a Luke Skywalker and they didn't look like Harrison Ford or Mark Hamill. I think there would be an issue, because we've already had those people in of live action, so we kind of connect with them as actors. But when it's a new property that nobody's seen before, and you're deciding, oh, hey, we got this voice actor that some people find really attractive. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this character that nobody's seen before, and we'll kind of do these features. And there's going to be people out there going to be like, the person on the right's kind of cute, in my opinion, and the person on the left, so what? So it's kind of like, it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder. There's going to be people who'll be happy. There'll be those who are upset. You can't make everyone happy all the time.
Yeah, it's weird. Baldur's Gate, Game of the Year across the board, basically, and the voice actors don't look anything like the people they play. So, what's the problem?
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that horned demon wasn't an actual person.
And there's probably some much more racy kind of stuff in that game, but
yeah,
I haven't played it yet. I'm still waiting on my copy. But yeah, no, it's like a whole thing that it's the Western developers, and they're woke, so they're gonna not put a hot girl in the game. Like, give me a break. Are people really? And I guess there's that new Stellar Blade game coming out, which, by the way, I guess has more people playing the demo right now than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth ever did, which is crazy on itself. That game is going to be good when it comes out later this month. But hot girl, but am I playing? Maybe that piqued my interest at first, but don't let that fool you. The game is good. So if the game is good,
yeah, the game has to be compelling, or else you're not going to be super interested in the long run. So,
well, I mean, ultimately, what is the point of playing video games? It has to be something that brings us into the world, and we have to feel like we have control over it. It's not like a movie where the movie's telling you a story and you have to have compelling sceneries and dramatic set pieces or whatever the case may be. So it really becomes like one of these things where if the gameplay isn't enjoyable, I'll just go watch a movie. Why do I need to play a game at that point?
Yeah, Alikrian, thanks for joining, man. This is the tip of a very big... I'll go back to your first one. This is the tip of a very big and very complicated iceberg. I agree that it is a character. So why does it need to look like the voice actor? The crux of the issue is the actresses are scanned in and their likeness is being used for the game. So I am also completely understand the irritation with manipulating the looks.
But to Eric's point earlier, that's exactly what they did for Baldur's Gate 3.
right.
And nobody complained about that, right? And I'm sure that they did the same thing with Witcher 3, if I recall correctly, and seen some documentary on how they did the making of with that too, that they've been using this motion capture and scanning of actors for quite some time to help with the 3D rendering of the models as they develop the game.
Mm-hmm.
And furthermore, we used real actors in Star Wars itself, but we still put costumes on them, right?
Yeah,
we didn't make them walk around not as, Chewbacca, right?
Yeah, well, Solo, like an extreme example would be like in Solo, where they used Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I think is her name. I like her acting, but she's a droid, right? She's just a droid in the film. You don't even see her face ever. So, but you hear her voice, and the physicality of her acting still comes through. but she doesn't look anything like herself in that film, and it's still good. So I don't know.
And maybe there's a double standard for us men commenting on women, but we don't do the same when men are in these video games. So, it's a touchy subject, and I guess we need a female on the group here. So I'd like to hear their.
Chewbacca's pretty sexy, right? I mean,
okay.
I feel comfortable enough in my sexuality to say that.
Dathan, do you have any thoughts on this topic before I go on the next one?
I don't really, honestly, I don't care.
If you think this is
if you're to be good.
Yeah.
If Ubisoft wants to take the voice actor and scan the face and then make it look like she's doing a 1982 glamour shots photo, whatever, then so be it. And I just want the game to be good. That's all that matters.
Yeah, great. Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too.
I did want to mention, since we're talking about Ubisoft, did you guys see the trailer for the Rogue Prince of Persia?
I did not know.
What are you talking about?
So, Evil Empire, Ubisoft is having Evil Empire, who did all the DLC for Dead Cells. They're making a roguelite Prince of Persia game. So it's like every time you die, you go back and you can get new upgrades to go through. So it's kind of similar to Darkest Dungeon in that way, where you can progress your guy as you die and everything. It looks pretty good, but I just thought it was kind of weird how they kind of let this just go under the radar, because it comes out on May 14th.
Oh wow, that's quick.
No, that's so.
Add it to the list, man.
Yeah.
Ubisoft, they're an interesting company, and I know I played that pirate game that they had. Now I can't even remember the title of it. But,
Skull and Cross.
Skull and
Bones. Yeah.
I was into that for a good couple of weeks there, and then I just I had some other games come up. But I think that one you could have bought $100 version if you wanted to. I didn't play the Avatar game. I don't know if any of you guys did, but there were several different versions of that game that came out. I think that was December. There was a $130 version of Avatar. I'm really curious how many people bought that, and I don't think they announced their sales numbers. So from what I understand, but obviously, I think somebody's buying it. I don't know. I'd like to close out this topic, but yeah, it's there. I hope them well with Star Wars. The one of the other things that kind of made me disappointed was I got my my Dead Cells helmet here. They announced the EA last week that they are not working on Dead Space remake part 2. Really sad. If you guys hadn't played it, I loved Dead Space, the remake they did. I've got 2 copies. That's how much I loved it. I got it on PlayStation and Xbox. I obviously bought the helmet, but EA, the studio within them, Motive, it was rumored that they were working on it, but I guess it got clarified this last week that they are not working on it. They're working on Iron Man and like a new Battlefront game. So that's my Debbie Downer of the week. I was really hoping maybe they'll pick it up. I'm hoping they'll pick it back up eventually, but I guess the game didn't do well.
That's a big bummer, because I bought it and I thought it was great. I liked the original Dead Space. I liked Dead Space 2, and I really thought the remake was spot on. One of the things that I liked that they did with it was the tension. As you're playing through the game, the music would change, sound effects would happen, and it would help ratchet up the suspense in a game that you had already actually played through and that you knew, if you still remembered it. Right. So they did that, and that was really effective at kind of how a remake can creatively be done. So
Absolutely.
I'm way bummed out about it because I thought Dead Space 2 was better than Dead Space, if memory serves correctly, from when I played that
Yes.
back on Xbox. And so I was pumped that they were going to continue on with the remakes.
And
So,
it goes
it's a
that the
bummer.
main character, Isaac, he really has a descent into madness in the game. And
Yeah.
wow, they capture it really well. So, Dead Space 2, I believe it's on PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360. So that might be worth a download before the 360 store closes here, I believe this summer. But yeah, disappointment. Chris, did you get to play any of those at all?
I did play a little bit of Dead Space Remake, and I liked it. And it's so weird that EA is saying that it didn't sell well, because if you literally type in Dead Space Remake sales,
Well, heard it was one of the best-selling games of January of 2023.
yeah,
Wow.
the first
But it didn't-
6 articles are like smashes sale chart, staggering figures.
That's what I remember the news being at the time.
And so it's like, it really does come to this question of, I'd seen a lot of people are trending now. We don't need AAA games anymore. And it's kind of like, why, what is the point of some of these games being so, you sell millions of copies and then you're like, we needed to sell 50 million in order to break even. And it's like, how much money are you putting into this game that you have to sell that many copies at $130 or $70 a piece? It really doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It's a huge investment. Like they're gotta work on a game for 3 years. They gotta know that it's gonna pop when it comes out for sure. And I guess maybe they're thinking, like, if they're working on Iron Man, like, people are going to be interested in Iron Man. Are they going to be interested? They could work on Iron Man, or they could work on Dead Space 2. And I guess I'd like to see what Iron Man is, but Dead Space 2, I haven't played it, but from what I'm hearing, Dead Space 2 is better than Dead Space 1. If the same people that worked on Dead Space 1 do all this, whoo, I would love it. So, yeah. Anyway, all right,
Chris, to your point, actually, one of the things that after what you said kind of jostled my memory and made me wonder. The movies and the movie industry goes through this every once in a while, right? Like when Blair Witch Project came out, it was this low budget film that everybody went and saw. It went viral at the time, right? So then all of a sudden Hollywood was like, oh, okay, hit the brakes. Let's see how many low budget things we can throw out and get that kind of return on investment, right? See that kind of margin. Then that happened again when the Hereditary came out, and I think before that The Witch, right? And those were two kind of lower budget horror films that then went on to do gangbusters at the box office, right?
Paranormal Activity also.
Paranormal Activity as well. So I kind of wonder if maybe that's what you're seeing in the game industry now, where it's like, okay, we've done these AAA games and we put this much in and our margin is only this large. If we could now kind of hit back with like some of these indie games that are coming out for, like Stardew Valley, right? Comes out for X amount of dollars per whatever for development time and goes all the way through here. Maybe that's what you're seeing. I mean, to your point, right?
Yeah, but the counter to that, I think, would be like Baldur's Gate, which was, I mean, it was certainly treated like a AAA release. I don't know how big Larian Studios is. I don't know how much they spent on it. I know they spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
But that game, like I said earlier, swept the awards this year. Like everybody gave that Game of the Year, and that kind of feels like a incentive for these companies to do big budget, big AAA games.
Yeah,
but
so.
Like single player ones, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, we can move on to the next topic, but.
I wanted to ask if the Wii U and 3DS store shutdown affected anybody.
I don't know if it affected anybody, but
no.
Do you guys? I still have my Wii U, but I hadn't turned it on, and
I
my
never got
God,
one. I never got one.
I bought one. I bought one just so I could play Mario Maker, basically. And when that came out with the stylist and making your own Mario levels, I thought was great. I think I made a level for Chris, and he came over. It was when I had my own apartment before I was married, and
Mhm.
like, yeah, that was fun. But it sounded like too there was one level in Mario Maker on the Wii U that no one had been able to beat yet. So when you upload a level, you have to be able to beat it first. I
Sure.
guess this guy used a computer AI to do these exact jumps, boom, 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 and is like perfect.
Mhm.
But I guess someone on the last day was able to beat it. So every
Yep.
level in Mario Maker is now officially 100%, and they did it before the store closed.
That's nice.
Like,
Very
bravo.
slow. Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of people were probably more upset with the 3DS going out, but uh, hopefully this means that Nintendo's going to allocate those resources toward their new system. So we'll find out. It sounds like it's not going to happen this year, but next year. But they made a commitment that they were going to shut the store down. Well, I guess you couldn't buy anything in the store, but the servers were going to shut down effective last weekend, and they were true to their word.
Yeah. I know it's Lorian Studios has 453 employees, but they're an independent studio, so they're not
Yeah.
owned by any publishers.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at Respawn Entertainment, who's owned by EA, and is the one that did the Star Wars Jedi Survivor game, and they've got 312 employees. But they're considered a AAA studio, so it's kind of like, do you have to be backed by a publisher in order to be considered a AAA studio versus an independent? I mean, I know the word, the word independent means they just don't have anyone above them. But
well, then I guess what I'm hoping, I think I've even said this before on the show, I guess what I'm hoping is that studios will be more independent then in the future because of the success of Larian. It seems real clear to me that their artistic vision was uncompromised, by shareholders or something like that. So hopefully we'll see bigger studios that are still independent make artistically cohesive and visionary games that aren't like cash grabs. That'd be nice.
Well, and it makes me wonder how many of these individuals who work for the big studios, the big companies, go out and form their own. Because, I mean, as you've seen in the last few years, Microsoft has been buying up a lot of studios. EA has always in the past bought up a lot of studios, and then they turn around and shutter them. We've lost studios like Pandemic to EA, and they're needing to shutter studios they buy. And then you have Bungie. They worked with Microsoft. Microsoft bought them, and then they kind of were like, nope, we want to get out from underneath that. We want to go independent. They went independent for a little while, and then Sony bought them up. And so now they're under Sony. And so it's like, how many times do you have these people, they form a studio, and they're like, we want to go independent. We want to have artistic choices and do what we want. And then a big publisher comes along and says, hey, you're making sales. We want to bring you in so we can reap the benefits of what you're doing. They do that, and then they lose the people who are doing the artistic choices.
Yeah, that's what always happens.
It's a good example to me of at least a movie is if you've ever watched the Wonder Woman movie that Patty Jenkins put out.
Right.
Now, the story is the studio stepped in and said, we don't like the ending you've got planned. Why don't we go this way? And a lot of people like the ending of the movie. And then Wonder Woman 1984 came out, and the studio was like, hey, you did such a wonderful job with Wonder Woman. We're not going to step in at all. This is all you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those where it's like, you should have had somebody in there being like, no, that's a terrible idea. No, let's do something else. Let's go back. Why is Chris Pine technically taking over this other person's body? You know, there were so many things wrong with that movie. And a lot of it, from what I've read behind the scenes, is Patty Jenkins was just let loose to do her artistic vision. And it's one of those cases where maybe
Didn't
she
work
shouldn't
out.
have been. You know, so it always is interesting to see.
For me, it kind of reminds me of George Lucas when he was making Star Wars.
Yeah.
He didn't want to have 20th Century Fox or a big studio, whoever it was, dictate what they wanted. He wanted to make his movies, and he did. And that was
but the sorry to butt in, but I think Lucas works best when he's surrounded by people who are
he definitely needs another person, because he did make episode 1. Right, so
right, episode.
Well, and Empire Strikes Back, right, is the one that most people kind of throw out there on a pedestal, and I think that he had the most editing on that, from what I remember reading the makings of.
But he didn't direct it. It was
Kirshner,
right, and he didn't direct it either, though. But I think though that he also had he pulled the reins back quite a bit on that, and let go of him quite a bit, and let somebody else really work the story and really work the development on that one. So yeah, and I remember Stephen King, when I was reading his on writing, he talked about his need for having an editor and how important that was for him, or else he would just spew out 2,000-page novels that interested nobody but himself. Right. So yeah, I think that that sometimes having that studio kind of helping you figure out what the audience wants is important.
It is interesting to me, like, there is a line that's starting to get blurred between movies and video games, and we're really starting to see that now. And maybe as the technology advances even further, like, it's going to be hard to distinguish. I know you talked about Eric last week, that one India, Harold Halibut's coming out. Like, yeah, I did see the trailer, and yeah, that does look like a little indie film. But more big budget kind of video games are going to look like films. And I think also, back to your point too, Travis, like the Dune movie that just came out, you know, that is another example of, obviously the guy that wrote Dune passed away, and I think it's his original vision, but they've definitely added a lot more things that were from the books, and it's not exactly the same, but they made it an incredible film. Amazing. So far, again, that's my favorite movie of the year. Do you guys want to talk about X-Men at all?
Yeah. So I started watching X-Men.
Look at his T-shirt. Show off your T-shirt again.
I'm not done with the show, but I did watch the first 2.
Oh,
and, when the
can I zoom in on that?
When the music hit, dude, I got goosebumps. I honestly did. And then both times, I didn't skip the intro. I was like, I want to hear it.
Come on.
But it was...
There we go.
What kind of confused me was, like, I think I've heard so many remakes of that intro song that it didn't go as hard as I remember, because I think I've heard so many, like, rock remakes of it, you know?
Yeah.
But it was still great to hear. But yeah, I'm into it. It's skewing more juvenile than I would have expected, but that's keeping perfectly in line with the original show. So it's not a critique. It's just not what I expected. I thought that they would want to appeal to, like, 40-year-old Eric rather than, 16-year-old or 13-year-old Eric. But yeah, I'm excited to finish the rest of it.
I think for the most part, they don't make things for, if you're over 30, I don't think they make companies and video games don't really make things.
Yeah, we're irrelevant. We're irrelevant.
We really are. We really are.
Until you own the company, and then you make the things you want.
Right. Well, we're not there yet. But it is interesting to see some of us are in charge of some of these companies, and you start seeing toys that you want to buy, and like, oh yeah, that someone there does get me. I totally get it. Dathan, you're really quiet tonight. You doing okay, bro? I want to show. Let's see.
Yeah, just
I want to show your background real quick.
It's been a long week. I'm just
check out your background. You got a GameCube back there.
He's got everything back
what
there.
the? He's got any? Looks like he's got Ninja Turtles.
Yep, there are some turtles over there.
What the?
And there's some
oh
stuff
my god!
over there.
Is that Mega Man?
Stuff down there.
You are the
Shield.
Moly.
Yeah, there's some stuff over there.
Yeah.
Wow.
It never ends.
Oh my lord.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Back to X-Men. So I watched episode 5 twice, and then I watched like a breakdown of how everything like slow mode and like the 20-minute recap of everything. And Eric says that it's kind of caters to the younger version, the younger Eric. But I think episode 5 will cater to the 40-year-old Eric. I think a little bit, more. I think
I would agree. Yeah.
Because it hits pretty hard in episode 5, and then from what I read is that episodes 8 through 10 are going to hit even harder. But there is a preview for episode 6. So I don't know if you guys saw it, or should I mention the spoilers? Should I not say anything? Should I just wait?
Spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
No spoiler. Okay, I won't say anything. But it puts a lot of things into perspective going forward, and how just big the universe is going to be, and how canon everything is going to be going forward.
Cool. Oh cool. Man,
I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, episode 5 was fantastic. I watched it and then I hit watch again.
Replay.
Watch it.
Did you watch it first thing on Wednesday? Because I think I was talking about this pre-show with Chris. Like, I'm scrolling through my social media. It's like Wednesday 8 a.m. And I know we're on the West Coast here, and there's people on the East Coast that get up earlier than us, obviously. Mm-hmm. But like, I'm seeing like people like, wow, this episode's amazing. I couldn't believe it. Like, I just woke up.
Like, no, I didn't watch it when it came out. If I'm gonna watch a show that I'm so vested in, I want to be fully alert. I want to be fully awake. I want to be paying attention so I can break down everything. So no, I don't think I watched it till I think 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Does it come out at midnight our time?
I don't know if it does or not, because I always watch it in the afternoon.
But anyway, I just thought that was fascinating. Like, are people waking up and just going right to X-Men now? Like, it's like Saturday morning cartoons. Like, but it's Wednesday. It's the middle of the week for us. Like, what? Let's go watch it. I got to put my 2 cents on social media for everybody. Like, oh, thank you. But it's like, I still got to finish my work here. Anyway, all right. Sorry, I'm ranting a lot.
Chris, my dream is to have millions of people follow me so I can spoil everything from now on.
Yeah.
Oh, you like that thing? Well, let me tell you what happens to it right now.
Well, I haven't seen any of the X-Men show, but you said episode 5 is the 40. So is that where they give the Worthington character his first jar of Metamucil? And that's how Eric's going to say, oh, that's what it's episode 40. I got it.
Yeah, I remember regular bowel movements. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Taking me back.
Set him down. Set him down. He gets his first AARP.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I think this is the one where
when you have to wake up at midnight to take ibuprofen because your knees hurt so bad.
There you go. Yeah. That's
Wolverine's where I'm at right now, and so that's fun.
Well, I think this is the one where Magneto goes in for his colonoscopy.
Yeah. Jesus, don't.
Yeah.
I just scheduled mine today.
That's why you're gonna shed a tear for that episode, Eric. It's gonna really hit home.
Be like, okay, this is appealing to 45-year-olds.
Back to Magneto. Like, a lot of people they're not liking the look of Magneto.
He looks great.
I think he looks fantastic, and he looks great. They've done a really good job with his personality and his look. I think he's done a fantastic job.
He's very compelling. I saw an advert for the Mondo premium 16-inch toy or whatever they have of him. Looks great. I mean, even in physical, it looks great. I think
it's the lack of a helmet.
Yeah, I think the helmet's throwing people right.
Yeah, it was because they had in one of the episodes where they showed him from the old one wearing a helmet, and it's like, oh, that's what's missing. That's what's been different. This X-Men 97 from the old.
But as the show goes on, because I noticed that too right from the beginning, that like, well, where's the helmet? You kind of forget about it. Like I forgot about it as the story was progressing.
But I was trying to figure out what it was. When my brother was the one that made the comment, he's like, "Oh, his helmet's missing. That's what's throwing me off." And I'm like, "Oh, that is the thing that's missing from Magneto." You sit there and you watch him, and I think they want to differentiate Magneto from Eric. In this one.
You don't need the helmet if Professor X's not there. That's the main thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
very true. Very true.
So it makes sense. But yeah, episode 5 hits a little different. Like, I don't think they could. I mean, it feels very like Japanese anime parts of it too, but that last 10 minutes of it, I don't know if that's something they could air on Fox Saturday morning cartoon. It's a little heavy.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
I forgot to mention this earlier, but I really liked how they kept the style of the animation, but they did introduce some like more recent animated techniques, so that that I noticed there were a couple of places where I noticed like, oh, this is probably a CG render of a cell shaded object, and so they could do some more cool 3D stuff with it. That would have been harder back in the early 90s. And like in the dance scene where they go into the nightclub and there's a bunch of people all dancing at the same time, but they're all doing different moves, whereas back in the 90s they would have all been like 3 different moves that 10 people are doing the same move, 10 people are doing this other, and so it looked more kind of anime style with the attention to detail, which I appreciated.
So Eric, you have to make sure you watch these next 3 episodes before Sunday, so that we can talk about it when we're driving to the arcade.
Yeah, I'll be sure and hammer a couple out tonight, and probably the rest tomorrow.
Because if you don't, I'm just going to talk about it regardless.
And you're going to spoil it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and let's throw that out there too. So Sunday, we are all meeting up, and Travis, I guess you're invited too now if you want. Sunday afternoon is when Chris and I are going to get up there. We're going to Next Level, everybody, Pinball Museum.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've been there, Travis, but
I live kind of close to it, actually.
Oh, nice.
So if you want, you can meet us there. And if anyone else is out there, I feel like the chat is dead tonight. You guys are asleep, but probably watch this on replay. But we will be there on Sunday. I'm not sure if we're going to do a live stream or not. It all depends on how my cell signal is there and how Verizon is. But maybe we'll just take video. But I'm going to leave that up in the air at this point. But it should be a great time. Like we've said, now it is apparently the biggest arcade on the West Coast with their new expansion. So it should be a great time. And the first time I took my kids, and I didn't have really any time to myself. And with you guys, it should be a different story. So I'm leaving the kids at home. Chris is going to be my kid. Right.
Yeah, it's a nice place. You've been there, so yeah, it's nice. It's fun.
So Chris has never been there.
Nope.
Right? Yeah.
Nope, I haven't been there yet.
So cool. Hopefully they let you in. They might think you're no, you'll fit right in, bro.
they might look at me and go, "You're too young."
Okay. They gotta check your beard.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't have any weapons or something in there. I probably need to do that.
So I wanted to bring something up before we're starting to kind of wrap wrap it up for the week. The past couple of weeks, I've been seeing some because I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and stuff for NES games. Because if you're new to the chat, I'm trying to complete a North America set minus stadium events, so 667 NES games. And I've been seeing. I saw in the past 2 months, I've seen 3 separate posts where people are very, very close to completing it. They're within like maybe 20 or 30 games. And then they just say, you know what? I've had enough. I'm wrapping up. Like they're that close. And they're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm wondering if it's because maybe it's like once they finish, they don't have anything to really strive for. And so I was kind of thinking.
Nothing to look forward to.
Yeah, something to look forward to, like, well, you know, because once I get there, it's like, well, because I was thinking about it, you know, once I get there, like, why would I go to PRGE anymore? Like, what would be the point of even going at that point? Because there's not any NES.
I think it's not going to be about the games. It's going to be about the people. It's going to be about your friendships.
And I thought, it's like, why? Because, and I'm seeing this a lot more than I have recently, and I'm wondering if people are starting to kind of realize, like, the shit is just plastic on shelves. Hence what you see back behind me right there. And that's all it is.
How close are you? You're at 500s, right?
I'm at 5. I almost got a couple this week, but I couldn't get a deal with the guy.
You have Top Gun?
560. I've got that, yeah.
Okay.
I've got 516, I think. My goal was to get to by 600 by the end of the year, but I don't think that's going to happen just because the games are getting I'm in that mid-tier range where these games they're not like $4 or $5 or they're not $1,000. They're $75, $100, and so that adds up real quick.
Yeah.
Are you going to get all the?
Do they have to? Do they have to be in working condition? Because isn't that a thing with the old NES games?
So all of the games back here, I've been able to get working, all 516 of them, even the ones that have gunk or corrosion or whatever, where I plug them in and they don't, because I test every single one to make sure that they work. And impressive. So I know how to fix them and take them apart, as long as they're not cracked, the shells aren't cracked, the boards aren't cracked, or there isn't anything on it that is detrimental to the actual playing of the game. Because I got a couple here that just look terrible. And they'll boot up every single time. You don't have to blow on them or anything. And funny thing about blowing on them is that never really works.
Yeah.
It never worked. All it was the 72 pin connector in the machine. All you had to do was insert the game and just kind of twist it back and forth. Then it would work. It never worked. I don't know why whoever started that, but yeah, so when I try to find a game, I try to make sure that it's, you know, it looks good, and one that it's not reproduction, because I can spot reproductions now pretty easy for the most part. And if it's a high dollar game, I have my own tools. I'll crack it open, and then I'll be like, okay, it's a legit board, and then we'll go from there.
Interesting.
But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that people are getting so close to finishing, and then they're
bailing out. Yeah.
They're bailing like right when they're right to the very end. I thought that was.
Are they selling, or they're just finished collecting?
They're selling it. They're just like, I'm done. I'm just selling it as a lot, or I'm not piecing it out. I'm just selling it, and I thought that was
maybe it has to do with the price of where things are. Is kind of my first thought, but second of all, like, it's all about the journey, right? Like,
it is.
You're trying to get there, and like you're like you're saying, like, if you get to the end, like, maybe they always want to have that feeling like, oh, I'm still gonna get it. I'm never gonna truly finish it, but it's like when you order something online, like, you get that endorphin rush or whatever. Like, oh, it's coming. Like, I'm gonna get it. Like, they want that feeling. Like, I'm gonna go get it one day, and those are kind of my thoughts. Like, but. Or maybe they just got sick of it. I don't know.
Like
I can tell you're passionate about it, dude.
Like, I was saying before, like, I'm gonna go for if it however long it takes me. But once I finish it, then I'm not gonna stop at 10 left or whatever like that. Maybe at some point, stadium events will be a lot cheaper. highly doubtful and debatable about it. But you know, if it does happen at some point, then I can acquire it. Then so be it, and then I'll have 667. And
Yep.
Does it have to have the Nintendo seal of quality? Is that the in the 600 there? Like I know there was like those Bible games that were
So
produced.
Those aren't licensed games.
And then there's that, and then there's like the limited run stuff. Like I knew there's a new Rugrats game for NES coming out. I don't know if you've seen that.
So there's a few different scenarios. There's like the Tengen games. They're the black cartridge games. They're let me show and tell time.
Yes. Can I go full screen again? Where is he? There he is.
So this one right here is a Tengen game. This is not a
Baseball.
licensed NES game. It's just a separate company that did it. And there's a few other companies that done their own games, but they're not licensed, or they're PAL version games. So what most people do is they want the North America set, which is the 667 games, and that's what I'm going for. That's what most people, not all, but that's what I go for. And if I don't care if they're in the box or not. It doesn't matter. If I can get a good deal and they're in the box with the manual, then awesome. If not, I'm not going to spend an extra $2,000-$3,000 on a box or anything like that. But as I'm getting closer and closer, it is getting a little bit more difficult to keep track of which ones I have, because they're different variants. There's like 5-screw variants and there's 3-screw variants that are on the back. So like these Tengen games, they have 2 screws and they're not even regular screws. I don't even know what the hell those are. But it is you do really have to pay attention to because I've ended up buying multiple copies of a game that I thought I didn't have, but I did have. So I have, I think 3 or 4 different copies of Wall Street Kid or something, because I wasn't paying attention, and they're a 5-screw variant or something like that. Maybe it's not Wall Street, but something.
Or you get some extra Red Racer glasses and you give them to your buddy Eric.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Are those the ones that I gave you?
These are the ones that you gave me, yeah.
Oh. The ones that I found in a box for 35 years ago.
Could you use those at the to watch the eclipse the other day? I guess we didn't. I guess we didn't need them here. It was too cloudy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would think that if people are getting afraid that they're going to lose a hobby, and their hobby was collecting NES games or whatnot, they could just move on to like TurboGrafx 16 or some other console
64
that's like rare and hard. Yeah, well, yeah, but that one's going to be easier. You'd want to pick something that like was barely on the market.
Yeah, because I
try to capture everything.
The 64, and it took about maybe 8 months. It was quick. It was not very long, and I ended up getting a lot of those way before the boom hit. I think there was one PRG that I went to. I think Eric was there, and I ended up getting, I think it's 40 to 45 64 games for under $1,000, and they were some high value games that were in there, and basically knocked off 20% of the library right there. But I think I've always had the inkling to get the NES, because that's the console that I really grew up with, and so I've pretty much been slowly collecting.
You got to beat them all. That's the obvious next step, is to beat every game.
Well, that was going to be my question.
No death run.
When you get a game, do you actually sit home and play it for like hours, or do you just go, okay, I got it?
It depends on what it is. Every one of the games I put on the NES Mini, the emulator, I hacked it and put all of them on there. So if I buy a game or something, I'll put it on there. But I do test every single one for 10, 15 minutes or whatever, just to make sure that they're in working condition.
Cool.
What is your most valuable NES game that you have?
Show and tell time again.
Yes.
Full screen.
Okay, full screen. And then my next question for everyone maybe is, what's your favorite NES game?
Custer's Revenge.
What's
Did that get
for a while?
that was Atari, wasn't it?
That was Atari. Where is Little Samson?
He's got that in a case.
Yeah, I ended up getting this at retro game. What is it?
Show it on screen again.
Retro game collector.
That looks nice.
And it's actually a really fun game. It's a very expensive game. I got it from it's in Beaverton, Retro Game Trader. Yes.
Yeah.
In 2017, and I think I got it for, I think it was $950 back then, and I think it's about 23, 24 now. I think.
Wow.
Give or take.
Okay,
yeah, that's the rarest one that I got.
Dude, hey, thank you for showing that. What is everyone's favorite NES game? I'll leave it. I'll end the show with kind of that question. Dathan, what is your favorite NES game? I can tell you're super passionate about this. So you gotta have an
favorite. So it's actually my favorite game.
The one, gun to your head. Yeah, gun to your head. Like you're gonna be at a desert island. You can only play this the rest of your life.
Which one?
It is the OG Legend of Zelda.
Oh, okay.
And
of course.
Okay.
That is my favorite game of all time and my favorite NES game, period. Yeah. And for those that say it's an RPG, it is not an RPG. It is an action. It is an action adventure with RPG elements. Period.
Okay. Don't piss them off, everybody. Chris.
You know, Legend of Zelda is a great game.
It's a classic.
But Star Tropics.
Oh, yes.
One of my favorite NES games because it was so different from a lot of the other games out. The story was
you've got a yo-yo. You used a yo-yo when you were a kid, so that brought you back, right?
There it is, right there.
Oh, yeah.
You got a freaking graded version of that? Wait, hold on. Go back full screen.
Right there.
Yeah,
what the? You got it CGC graded?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Who are you?
There's one more too. One more show and tell.
All right. Wait, hold on.
One more show and tell. You gotta have the second one too.
Oh yeah.
What
the second one?
That was the one that introduced jumping, wasn't it?
Yes, and that one had the weird thing where it was like you time traveled and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I remember there was like a Sherlock Holmes stage or something like that, and different things. That one's up there. That one, I actually like that one about as much as like the first one.
Okay, we gotta come up with a game that he doesn't have, and he can't go to it. Eric, what's your favorite NES game?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Legend of Zelda was the first thing that popped into mind, but I didn't really play that one a ton. I watched my brother play it a ton. You know, I was the little brother watching my brother play.
Right.
And so then I thought about the game that I thought grabbed me the most as a kid on the NES, and I think it's Metroid.
Nice.
Yeah, just the...
Where's your copy, Dathan?
It's over there.
The expansive levels and the music and atmospheric tone of that game, it was really just immersive to me as a kid, and I'm gonna go Metroid. And the twist end.
I need to get a version of that, a copy of that.
Mm-hmm.
Travis, do you have a favorite NES game?
So I don't, because as a child I was not allowed to have a game console.
Okay.
I had a PC that my parents bought me for college because they fell for that lie when I was in fifth grade. Yeah. And so I grew up on Space Quest, King's Quest, those sort of things. But the only NES time I got was at people's houses, like Eric's house and other friends' houses. But I was so awful at the games. Every kid would be like, give me that. I'm not watching that again. And so I never got any real playtime with NES.
You had
not until I bought my first GameCube.
All right. Well, if you don't have a favorite NES game, what was your favorite PC game from the back in the 80s, kind of like
Ultima 5.
Okay.
Ultima
nice,
5,
nice.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You know where you're going?
I think there was Ultima on NES or Super Nintendo.
NES. There was Ultimate Exodus, I think, was on NES because that was one that I saw somebody playing, and I said, I can help you with that. And they're like, no, you suck at NES. Get your touch this thing. The story of my life. Right? I was like, no, I really know how to play these ones. You're doing this wrong. No, you're not touching my controller. Get out of here. Go home.
I have a lot of nostalgia for Super Mario Brothers 2 and, weirdly enough, the original Ghostbusters game, which was terrible. But I think my favorite NES game is Super Mario Brothers 3. So
great game. Great.
I put so many hours into that sucker and beat it so many times. It's just a feel good game for me.
Do you know where that game debuted at?
The Wizard.
The Wizard, yes. Power Glove is so bad.
Let me guess, you were in that movie?
No.
He has a graded copy of it, though.
With Fred Savage? Yeah.
I did read a really weird article about the making of, like, how Super Mario 2 came to be in the American market. I read that, like, I want to say like 3 months ago. It's an interesting thing to look up because it has kind of a odd history.
Yeah, because it used to be
about it, and that's why it's such a misfit.
Doki Panic. That's what it was. Yeah.
Is that right?
Mario 2.
So you remember it, yeah.
The reason why they changed it because they thought that because it was originally a game over in Japan, but they thought that
American audience just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, and so they just changed the sprites to make it the skins, and that's made it Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yeah, so crazy. It was so interesting reading the making of that because I do remember watching that at friends' houses, and it looked so different from the original Mario. Like, it made no sense as to why this was a sequel, just from what I knew of Nintendo games.
I also want to say too, they came out with the Super Nintendo version of those games with the lost levels. I can't remember what that package was called. I don't care for that. I like it on NES, and I know the Super Nintendo is 16-bit, and it's supposed to have whatever better graphics or whatever. I don't care. I like the original stuff better, and there's people out there that disagree with me on that. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. Anyway, all right, that's all I got. You guys have any more final thoughts? Good show tonight. Thank you.
I do have a final thought, and it is Command and Conquer Ultimate Edition dropped on Steam. $20. Yeah. You can get 17 games and expansions. Seems like a pretty good deal if you want to do some retro gaming PC stuff. That it just caught my eye, and I thought maybe some of our viewers might be interested. Command and Conquer Ultimate Edition, $20.
Nice.
I was going to mention the one other thing that came out of that CinemaCon was Paramount Pictures announced R-rated The Last Ronin movie.
Oh, the TMNT, right?
For the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Yep, they officially announced it's going to be an R-rated movie. So
I forget who they said was going to be involved in that, but I think whatever movies they were involved with before were pretty good. I remember seeing I forget the names, but it sounded like a cool lineup of people working on.
Is it Michael Bay?
No.
Okay.
No, they got Zack Snyder for this one.
Okay.
Oh God. There's whole groups of people that still talk about Michael Snyder's DC Superman stuff. I can't get into that.
Yeah.
Like,
there was also the what else was it? My mind just brain fart.
I heard they might have talked about. I know we're running late here, but they talked about some of the new stuff from the new Alien movie, and it sounds like they're using all practical effects in this movie coming up. Alien Romulus, it's going to be all practical effects.
Oh,
holy hell!
So, it was Bad Boys. There's a new Bad Boys movie coming out.
Right.
It looks awful.
You know that Will Smith and Martin Lawrence had to drop on their feeds. If you go back and watch the first two Bad Boy movies, Michael Bay, they were enjoyable movies.
Sure.
And I think at that point you should have just said, "We're done. We've done two of them." The third one came out, Bad Boys for Life, and it wasn't a bad movie, but it was like it was missing the Bay explosions that we came with the first two, and it's like it just wasn't the same type of movie. And watched the trailer for this new one, and I'm like, is this what slapping Chris Rock gets you? Is Bad Boys? Down the road.
One final topic, guys, and I know Dathan, you must have watched it. WrestleMania was last weekend. All right, here's my quick thoughts, real quick. I don't know if everyone watched it, but I thought Saturday night was absolutely terrible. Sunday night they redeemed themselves with that ending, but for the most part, man, I don't even know how I tuned in back in for Sunday.
I missed most of Saturday because I had stuff going on.
It's so
speaking
fake.
of Saturday, side note for Saturday, happy belated birthday to Eric's mom's birthday. Happy birthday to Eric's mom.
Oh, happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah, so I missed most of Saturday.
You didn't miss anything.
Sunday was absolutely fantastic. I watched the whole 4.5 hours.
Sunday was good.
Yeah, the last 20 minutes or so was pretty epic.
If you paid for it, I guess you need to watch Saturday, because like if you paid for a ticket for Saturday, and I'm sure it was expensive, I feel like I would have been pissed. And
I wouldn't anticipate people just go, if you go, because I've been to WrestleMania a few times and it's an event in itself. I could not fathom going to one day and not going to the other day.
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense.
Well, back in the day, it's never been 2 days, has it?
No,
it used to be just one, right?
I think 2021 was the first of the starting of the 2-day thing. That's like, it's like going to the Super Bowl and only watching the first half and then going home, and then not going to the second half. But I thought that this I caught most of the highlights for day one, but day two was absolutely fantastic. They did a really good job. I enjoyed it.
My only gripe of day two really is that press conference they have at the end. Do you watch that?
No, I did not. As soon as the logo was on, I cut out.
They have a fake press conference where they have the guys with the belts. They come up and like, all right, let's talk to reporters. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're spinning their story at the press conference. Finish the story or whatever. But this is the whole thing. Like a reporter asks him a question. Hey, so blah blah blah. How's it feel? Like he starts going on this. One of them starts going on this whole different topic. Like, I feel like you're starting to spin the new story here. Like, get out of here. Whatever. But anyway, yeah, I'm not that big of a wrestling fan, but I did tune in, and my wife was kind of irritated. That's like the only time that I'll watch wrestling is for WrestleMania a little bit. But anyway, yeah, Sunday night was good, but I thought Saturday was absolutely trash. So, whatever. Anyway, Dathan, do you have any more final thoughts? Thank you for staying on with everybody. I know an hour and 20 minutes.
Final thoughts. Maybe just, I did hear that Steven Spielberg is going to be the producer on the new Transformers movie.
Right. Okay. We need you to talk about the Transformers real quick.
Just real quick. So yeah, the G.I. Joe. Transformers.
Do they even mesh? Is that the same universe?
It is in the toy world. So I mean,
okay. I
guess we'll see what happens. But in September, I think it's September 13th, they're coming out with animated /3D rendered Transformers 1. Basically, it's like the prequel to the Transformers series, where you actually get to see the Transformers before they can actually transform. And Chris Hemsworth is voicing, it's not Optimus Prime, it's Orion Pax. So it's Orion Pax is who Optimus Prime was before he became a Prime. And so this is a lot of everything before, where Megatron and Optimus Prime, they're buddies, and I think
Scarlett Johansson is in it also as
I think so. and they basically it's a little bit lighthearted, so I don't really know where they're gonna go with it. But the trailer comes out next Thursday, and that was I've heard that from 2 different sources. So we'll see how it goes. It's called.
We're excited to hear your take on it. Then
Transformers 1, yeah. So I'll give my full review of the 2-minute trailer on Friday.
It sounds like it's kind of like X-Men Origins a little bit, because back in that original movie, it's like Magneto and Charles Xavier grow up together and they become friends, and then something happens and they grow apart or whatever. They make that's the drama.
Yeah, I can see the comparisons between the two. The only thing I'm just kind of concerned about is how they're gonna look. That's kind of the biggest thing, because I heard they're gonna have like G1 inspired looks mixed with 3D renderings, mixed with animated. So I mean, you've got a lot of working parts there to kind of make this work. So but we'll see.
Cool.
That's
Travis, do you have any final thoughts? Thanks for coming on, man, and hearing us ramble.
Yeah, thanks for having me. No. No final thoughts right now.
It's late. Well, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm getting a lot of people watching on Twitter tonight, or X, whatever it's called. 16 people. Thank you so much. 3 people on my channel, and there's that 1 person on Twitch. Thank you so much. We are on Instagram too, and I'm sure people will watch the replay. Seems like they did a lot last week, but if you're watching the replay, give this video a like, and if you're not already, consider subscribing to my channel and Asa Jack's Media Grounds as well. Again, Sunday we will be at Next Level Arcade Museum. I don't know what the full title is. Next level Pinball Museum, I think.
That sounds right.
I think so too.
Hillsboro, Oregon. So if you're there, say hi. And I guess that's all I got. So fun show. Thanks, guys. Give us a like.
Thanks, guys.
And if not, we'll see you next week, hopefully. All right. Peace out.